or 93.2 FM, island-wide.
Good morning and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Dhammika Kanayaka.
Text your request now. Type GOLD, leave a space, type your message, and send it to 7766. The Total Request Weekend on Gold FM.
93 or 93.2 FM, island-wide.
The news headlines. On Gold FM.
Iran demands payment to cross the Strait of Hormuz. India confirms attacks on its ships at Hormuz and calls for safe passage. Vice President of India to visit Sri Lanka today. SLPP pledges legal action over substandard coal imports. IGP denies politicization of police. North Korea yet again launches ballistic missiles.
The top story on Gold FM.
Ships must pay security and environmental protection fees in order to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. This was said by Iran's Supreme National Security Council as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps closed the strait yesterday. This measure comes as Tehran accused the United States' presence in the region of piracy and maritime robbery. Iran's Supreme National Security Council said that Tehran is determined to enforce monitoring and control over transit through the Strait of Hormuz until the definitive end of the war. Meanwhile, India called the Iranian envoy to New Delhi and flagged its deep concern over the attack on two Indian-flagged ships attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. According to a statement by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, India's top foreign ministry official asked the Iranian ambassador to convey India's view to Iranian authorities. The minister also urged the earliest possible process of facilitating India-bound ships across the strait. In the meantime, Iranian parliamentary speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf signaled that a significant diplomatic gap remains between Tehran and Washington. In an interview with state television, the top negotiator stated that both nations require substantial progress before a formal agreement becomes reality. Ghalibaf described the closure of the Strait of Hormuz as a strategic victory for Iran. He suggested that the move placed Tehran in a position of strength despite the continued presence of American military assets in the region. While acknowledging the economic and military resources of the opposition, the speaker claimed a strategic defeat for the United States in the current confrontation.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Indian Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan will arrive in Sri Lanka today for a two-day official visit. During his visit, he will meet President Anurakumara Dissanayake and Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya for bilateral discussions. Radhakrishnan's schedule also includes meeting with political and community leaders alongside the exchange of several memoranda of understanding. These agreements focus on enhanced cooperation, specifically regarding Cyclone Ditwa, rehabilitation and development projects supported by the Indian government. Meanwhile, due to the Indian Vice President's visit to the island, a special traffic plan will be implemented around Colombo today and tomorrow. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna pledges to take legal action against those who are responsible for the importation of substandard coal after being elected to the government once more. This was said by the party's General Secretary, former parliamentarian Sakara Karyavasam. He wasn't the only one to comment on this issue, as various politicians expressed views on the matter. Waruna Rajapaksha of the Samagi Jana Balavega, parliamentarians Devananda Suravira, Suranga Ratnayaka, Chandana Surya Arachi, Namal Rajapaksa and Dayasiri Jayasekara were among those. Views were also expressed by parliamentarians Mujibur Rahman, Mano Ganeshan, Pubudu Jayagoda of the Frontline Socialist Party and parliamentarian D.V. Chanaka. In the interest of clarity, we have refrained from dubbing their remarks.
පාඩුව අය කරගන්න ගියොත් එහෙම ගල්ලංගුරු සමාගම වංකොලොත් වෙයි කියලා කියපු විමල් රත්නායක මහත්තයා සමාගමෙන් මේක අය කරගන්න කටයුතු කරනවා කියලා කියනවා. ඔහුට එහෙම හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ ගල්ලංගුරු වලින් වෙච්ච පාඩුව අදාළ සමාගමෙන් අය කරගන්න හොඳම දේ තමයි මේ හිස් වෙලා තියෙන බලශක්තිය අමාත්‍යාංශය විමල් රත්නායක මහත්මයාට බාර දෙනවා.
විශේෂ ජනාධිපති කොමිසමක් පත් කිරීම මං හිතනවා විපක්ෂයට නැවත හෙනහුරා ලැබුවා කියලා. අපි හොදන්න ඕන තැන අපි හොදන්න ඕන. බලශක්ති ඇමතුමා ජයකොඩි මැතිතුමා ජයකොඩි සහෝදරයා සම්බන්ධයෙන් ප්‍රබන්ධයක් තමයි සොන්බන් විපක්ෂයේ ගොඩනගමින් තිබුණේ.
මේ ගල්ලංගුරු වංචාවට අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක මැතිතුමාගේ සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට බිහිවෙන අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ යටතේ ඔබතුමන්ලා සිරගෙවල් වල ඉන්න සූදානම් වෙන්න.
විපක්ෂයේ සමත් වුණේ නැහැ නිශ්චිතව ගල්ලංගුරු වංචාවක් වුණා කියලා පැහැදිලි කරන්න. ඒ වගේම ගල්ලංගුරු ප්‍රසම්පාදන ක්‍රියාවලියේදී විශේෂ අමාත්‍යවරයා හෝ දේශපාලන අධිකාරිය ඇතුළු ඒ අදාළ යාන්ත්‍රණයෙන් කිසිදු ආකාරයක අයථා කටයුත්තක් සිද්ධ වෙලා නැහැ. ඒක ස්ථිරයි පැහැදිලි.
වැදින් ජනාධිපතිවරයා මේකට වක් කියන්න ඕනේ. මොකද මේ ඇමතිවරයා පත් කරනකොටත් පොහොර සම්බන්ධයෙන් උඩ චෝදනාවක් තිබ්බා. මේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා දැනගෙන තමයි පත් කරේ. වාස්කිවිරුද්ධ ප්‍රහාරයේ ෆයිල් හංගපු දේශපාලන පත්වීමකින් තනතුරකට ආපු දෙන්නෙක් තමයි ගල්ලංගුරු සම්බන්ධිනුත් හොයන්න දීලා තියෙන්නේ.
තමන්ගාව මොහොමස් තිබුණොත් තමන්ගේ පාක්ෂිකෙක් ගාව දේවානම් පීතිස්ස රජුරෝ මොහොමස් තඩිය මේ ගිය දන දක්වා මේ පරීක්ෂණ කටයුත්තක් කරන තැනකට තමයි අද මේ ආණ්ඩුව පත් වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ.
දැන් ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ 2009 ඉඳන් ගල්ලංගුරු වංචාවක් සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවායි කියලා අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක ජනාධිපතිවරයාගේ අර ඩබල් කැබ් එකේ තිබුණු ෆයිල් 400 ඇතුලේ මේ ෆයිල් එක තිබුණේ නැද්ද? අවුරුදු 1කමාරක් යනකම් ඇයි මේ ගල්ලංගුරු සම්බන්ධව ජනාධිපති කොමිසමක් පත් කරේ නැත්තේ? ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා නොකර හිටියොත් අපිත් කතා නොකර ඉන්නවා. ඕක නෙවෙයි ඩීල් එක. දැන් වෙලා තියෙන දේ තමයි හොරු අල්ලන්න ආපු මිනිස්සු හොරුන් එක්ක ඩීල් කතා කරනවා.
මේ කුමාරයාව අර කුමාරයා බේරගන්න උත්සාහ කරේ. 71 88 89 කාලේ අපල කරව අපරාධය. රාජ දේපල විනාශ කරානේ. ඔක්කොම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ.
අස්වෙන නොවන එක ආණ්ඩුවේ රෙද්ද බේරා ගැනීම පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නය. බාල ගල්ලංගුරු ගැනලා රජයට අලාභයක් කිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් මේ පුද්ගලයන්ට එරෙහිව නඩු පැවරිය යුතුයි. ඉල්ලාසුණා කියලා මේ සතුටු වෙන්න බෑනේ.
එන ඕනෑම රජයකින් මේ කැබිනට් එකට හිරේ යන්න වෙනවා. මේ ඇමතිවරයා මේ තුළු සියලුම දෙනාට කැබිනට් එකට ජනාධිපතිතුමාට මේකට වග කියන්න වෙනව විතරක් නෙවෙයි පැලවත්තේ හිටපු අය තමයි පොලිසියට ප්‍රධාන තැන් වලට දාගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඒකේ හින්දා උන් උත්සාහ කරනවා මේක සුද්ධ කරන්න. හැබැයි සුද්ධ කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. කෝටි 10000ක ලංකාවේ ඉතිහාසයේ ලොකුම වංචාව වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Moving on with other local news, Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya rejects opposition allegations of political interference within the police department. He made these comments while addressing media during a visit to Kandy to meet the chief prelates of the Malvatta and Askiriya chapters. In the interest of clarity, we have refrained from dubbing his remarks.
මහමග ඝාතනයක් අපි දැක්ක මෑත කාලේදී අඩුවක් වෙලා තිබ්බ. පාටම නැවතත් එවැනි සිද්ධියක් වෙනවා.
මේ මෙහෙම කරු හිටියේ විදේශගත වෙලා. මේ විදේශගත වෙච්ච පුද්ගලයෝ මේ වෙනකොට 32ක් අරගෙන ඇවිල්ලා තිනවා.
පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් පවා මේවට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා දඬුවම් දීමේ යම්කිසි අඩුවකුත් දක්නට ලැබෙනවනේ මේ.
කිසිම අවස්ථාවක පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් සම්බන්ධ නම් වුණ සංගවාගෙන ඉන්නේ නැහැ. නිරාවරණය කරනවා. ඒ වගේම අත්අඩංගුවට කොට ගන්නවා. ඒත් එක්කම නීතිය ඒ ආකාරයෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාවේ තියෙන යම් සමාජිකින් ඒ සම්බන්ධව ඒක යමාර ගන්නවා.
විපක්ෂයේ නිතරම කියනවා මේ පොලිසිය දේශපාලනීකරණ වෙලා මාලිමා පොලිසියක් තියෙන්නේ. ජාතික ජනබලවේගී පොලිසියක් තියෙන්නේ කියලා.
අපි නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. දේශපාලනීකරණය වෙලානේ දේශපාලනයෙන් නැතුව ස්වාධීන වීමක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. විවිධ විවේචන තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ මහජනයා ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් හොඳම නිරීක්ෂකයෝ කියලා.
The lawyer of Minister K.D. Lal Kantha has sent a letter of demand to Hero News, stating that its previous reporting on the minister's declaration of assets and liabilities was inaccurate. According to the notice, the value of the minister's securities and total gross value of his assets, as reported earlier, were incorrect. However, under the right of correction, Hero News has re-evaluated these figures and issued this clarification. On the 16th, Hero News reported on the declaration of assets and liabilities submitted by Minister K.D. Lal Kantha to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption for the years 2024 and 2025, covering both his and his family's assets. According to the declaration, his immovable assets included 2,500 square foot residential building and 10 purchases of land valued at 6 million rupees received as a gift, and a permanent building and 20 purchases of land valued at 2.5 million rupees. A 4,500 square foot residential building and 14 purchases of land valued at 56 million rupees were also included as his immovable assets. In addition, he declared inherited property consisting of a 1,500 square foot residential and commercial building on 2 roads and 7.26 purchase of land valued at 2.5 million rupees. His movable assets include 8 sovereigns worth of gold jewellery valued at 1.6 million rupees, 120 grams of gold worth 3 million rupees, and a motor vehicle valued at 4.5 million rupees. Hero News also reported that the minister earns an annual salary of 738,918 rupees and 16 cents, annual income of 400,000 rupees from property rentals, and a pension income of 771,400 rupees were also reported. Additionally, income from fixed deposits was reported as 2,755,851 rupees and 97 cents per year. 1.8 million rupees was listed as his annual income from his current employment. Based on the declaration submitted to the Bribery Commission, no discrepancies were initially identified in the reporting. However, the legal notice highlighted errors in the reported value of securities and the total gross value of assets. Hero News wishes to make it evident that the previously reported total value of the minister's securities, 383,906,705 rupees and 40 cents, was due to a calculation error. According to the declaration, the correct value should be 143,475 rupees and 8 cents. Furthermore, the earlier report that the total gross value of assets exceeded 460 million was also incorrect and resulted from a calculation mistake. The corrected estimate indicates that the total value of the minister's assets exceeded approximately 80 million rupees. Hero News wishes to express regret for the inconvenience caused to Minister K.D. Lalkantha. This clarification is being published under the media's right of correction. Sri Lanka and China discussed the potential benefits of promoting renminbi-denominated settlements for trade between the two countries. This was during a meeting between the Central Bank Governor, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, and Governor of the People's Bank of China, Dr. Pang Gongsheng. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington. Both governors also discussed the escalated geopolitical tensions. Meanwhile, another meeting was held between the CBSL chief and Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Sanjay Malhotra. Discussions focused on efforts to promote Indian rupee-based settlements for trade and tourism.
Now for some news in brief.
Special bus and train operations continue across all provinces today to facilitate the return of the public following the Sinhala Tamil New Year, and the Lanka Private Bus Owners Association urged long-distance passengers to reach boarding points as early as possible to avoid expected heavy congestion during the afternoon hours.
The business news on Gold FM.
Artificial intelligence startup DeepSeek enters negotiations with investors to secure a minimum of $300 million. This latest funding round targets a company valuation of $10 billion following a year of significant market disruption. Despite previous interest from major Chinese venture capital firms and technology giants, the firm reportedly declined earlier offers. Reports indicate the company utilized high-end NVIDIA hardware for training purposes despite existing trade restrictions. While the startup continued to expand, potential American investors face uncertainty due to geopolitical tensions and regulatory hurdles surrounding Chinese technology firms.
International news on Gold FM.
North Korea conducted multiple ballistic missile tests off its eastern coast early this morning. This marks the 7th such incident this year. South Korean and Japanese officials confirmed the launches originated near the city of Sinpo. Regional analysts suggest Pyongyang views the current focus of the United States and Iranian affairs as an opportunistic window to advance nuclear and missile technologies. In response to the escalation, the South Korean Presidential Office convened an emergency security meeting. International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi recently warned of serious advancements in North's nuclear production capabilities, including a likely new uranium enrichment facility. This military display precedes a scheduled summit in mid-May between the United States and China, where regional security remains a primary agenda item.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Screen legend Natalie Baye, acclaimed for her roles in French cinema and Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can, died at the age of 77. Her family confirmed the news to AFP today, stating she passed away on Friday at her home in Paris. Baye leaves behind a prolific legacy spanning decades of international film history.
Sports news on Gold FM.
The New Zealand under 85 kilogram rugby squad will arrive in Sri Lanka on Wednesday for a two-match series against the Sri Lankan national side. The visitors face Sri Lanka in the opening fixture on Saturday at the racecourse in Colombo. Following the clash in Colombo, the teams travel to Kandy for a second encounter scheduled for the 3rd of May at the Nithawala Stadium. And that's it for now, but do join us once more at 8:30 a.m. for your news highlight. Bye-bye.